On today's Locked On NBA Squad Show East, Damian Lillard goes down for the Bucks. Are they doomed this season, or are they doomed for the rest of time? We'll talk about that and more. Locked On NBA Squad Show East starts now.
You are talking ball with the NBA East Squad Show. From the Celtics to the Bucks, the Knicks to the Heat, and everyone else in the East. The local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bring you all the scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive look at the Eastern Conference. Trash talk and big takes included. No holding back. We're giving the green light. It's time to talk NBA East.
Welcome. You're Locked On NBA Squad Show East. My name is Nick Angstead, host of Locked On NBA, the Squad Show, where we take over the feed of your favorite show. It's an open invite for any host to join and talk about anything they want in the NBA's Eastern Conference. This episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into an Xbox. No console required. Head to Amazon.com/Fire Locked On, Fire TV Locked On to learn more. Joining me from Locked On Heat, getting ready for that. Getting ready for 1-2-3 Cancun. What you got for me, Wes Goldberg?
1-2-3 Cancun for the Heat or for me? Either way, I think we're all ready.
By the time you're hearing this, it may have already happened. So we'll see. And then you can't have a conversation about the East without Tony East from Locked On Pacers. What you got for me, Tony?
Slept about an hour and a half last night between Pacers-Bucks game 4 and Fever training camp today. So really psyched to talk about the Bucks after seeing the absolute worst of them yesterday.
Would you rather talk about Caitlin Clark today?
I already did talk about Caitlin Clark today, so I am happy to do that also.
We'll do all that. All right, let's get into the first thing. Damian Lillard. It was feared that he was going to have Achilles injury, that it was an Achilles tear. It was confirmed today that it was, and so now the Bucks have to try and figure some stuff out. I think a lot of us thought that they were done in this series anyway, even with Damian Lillard. But now, Tony, your thoughts on this Bucks Pacers series now without Damian Lillard? Are the Bucks just done? Like, the Pacers offense is just too much for them?
Very possible. I mean, they were already pretty cooked. They couldn't stop the Pacers if Dame and Giannis were playing in games 2 and game 3 for half the game. And like, that's what the Pacers do to teams, right? When they play the way they want, they call it random with tempo, pace, whatever they want to call it. Like, no one can stop them. That's why their offense has been so good the last 2 seasons. And like, to Dame's credit, you know, he wasn't making shots, obviously, but he still had the gravity. Like, they were scared of him when he was in the corners off ball with Giannis, and he was defending actually pretty well. Game 3 was the best defensive game I've ever seen Damian Lillard play in my life. Like, he still had value in this series, so losing him is a huge loss for a Bucks team that has been very reliant on, like, oh, Gary Trent made 9 threes today. Oh, AJ Green made 6 threes today. Like, one less shooter really hurts their entire operation, and they already couldn't stop the Pacers. I mean, it might just be over pretty soon.
Yeah, to Tony's point there, this is a Bucks team that already knows what it's getting from Giannis and just needs 1 or 2, maybe 3 other guys to step up. I mean, we saw the big Gary Trent Jr. game. That's the one game that Milwaukee won in this series. But the Bucks have been playing basically half the series with Dame, half of it without Dame. It really hasn't much mattered unless you basically get somebody else to score 30-plus points on their roster. So more than anything, yes, it's an X's and O's loss. It's a personnel loss. It's a loss to the roster. It's also like an emotional letdown because after game 1, the whole thing was, well, you know, we're really optimistic that Dame's going to come back and we'll see how he looks. And they play him in spurts in game 2, and then he just goes down. And then you know, game 3 goes the way it goes, and then he goes down early in the last one. And so there is no hope left for Milwaukee. There's no thing being like, oh, this guy is coming back, or we have this, you know, X factor or this other thing that we haven't gotten to. It's just, yeah, this series kind of got away with us with and without Dame, and now Dame's not even here anymore. And there's just that emotional letdown of this series, let alone what this means for the organization overall going forward. And that's the part that probably really just seems like the biggest letdown.
Yeah, that's what go ahead. Sorry.
During that last game, just seeing the clips of Bobby Portis, like the mic'd up version of him walking through, like, lift your head up, let's go, we got this, go. Like, to need to have somebody do that in the playoffs, I mean, just signals the end of a team, right? Like, if you have to get up for a game like that, it's like if you can't show effort and intensity in a playoff game, oof, you're done as a team. But now to overcome something like that, ooh, that was tough to see stuff like that.
When Dame gets hurt like that, though, it's like shocking to the Pacers. Like, everybody was like, what do we even do now? Like, the whole arena had this anxiety. It's so atypical, like for any game, especially a playoff game. And like, I don't know what the right word is. Like I have used shell shocked, but that's not right. Like they weren't shocked. People get hurt. They had like no emotion almost, right? Like it takes everything out of it. So I get him actually saying like, yo, we got to go. We got to get lifted up. Like Bobby Portis, the tough guy, like he's trying to juice his team up by doing that stuff in this game. It's not actually like beef to me, at least. Maybe I'm off. Like you actually need it in that moment because like if you're like franchise outlook flashes before your eyes, good freaking luck focus. Going to halftime and like Doc Rivers going to be like, we got to defend this ball screen better, do this better. Like if it crosses your mind for 1 second, like, oh, we're cooked without Dame, like you're not recovering, you're not paying enough attention. Like it's impossible to bounce back from all that, even if you're like the most well-intended player to me.
Yeah, 2 points on that. Number one, I thought it was fascinating to hear Tyrese Halliburton talk about that after the game and how he's talking about, yeah, you know, we've gone back and forth, but, you know, I love Dame and everybody knows that. And I'm like, I'm not sure everybody knew that. But still, it was like...
Can I comment on that? Wait.
Go ahead. Jump in.
There's an interview from 2023 where Tyrese Halliburton says, yeah, I wear 0 in part because I love Dame. Like he has a lot of admiration for Damian Lillard. Everybody thinks they hate each other for some reason. Anyway,
but that's
well, it's like the Anthony Davis. It's like the Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant thing, you know?
Right?
It's like,
right. Like, and that's the thing. This Damian Lillard Achilles injury almost like broke the fourth wall in a weird way because you've got like this WWE wrestling part of Pacers Bucks where everybody's kind of playing to the crowd a little bit, and there's the Halliburton, Damian Lillard back and forth and all this stuff, and Giannis and his history with the Pacers and all that stuff. And this, to Tony's point, it's not shell shocking, sobering. I don't know, but it kind of just it pierces through the veneer of the show of the NBA, which is the part we all have fun with, at least in this series. And then the second part, again, going back to what this means for the Bucks going forward, it's like, why even win a game right now? In this series, they're not the Orlando Magic or like the Detroit Pistons where, yeah, their series might be over, but there's still a reason to win. Like there's a proof of concept of, hey, we could beat one of the best teams in the East. Like, you know, we need extend this playoff series for our young players and what this means for us going forward. This Milwaukee thing is over. Like it just feels like we're getting to the end of this Bucks thing, and there is no reason to come in with adjustments. I don't see the reason other than pride. And, you know, certainly there's a lot of pride on the line here, I suppose, but there's no real like overarching franchise reason to extend this series. And that's just like a really weird place to be.
I mean, but there is no failure in sports, right? So they just go out there and
well, this is probably the first time Giannis has played in a series that if he lost, no one would view it as failure. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like probably since their title, even before that, I would say, right?
So big winner, Giannis.
And so then now you look at what it means for the Bucks going forward, because they could be just screwed in this series, but they're probably screwed for next year too. Let's talk about that and what that means for this team and more coming up. Locked On NBA Squad Show East. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Squad Show East brought to you by Monarch Money. Monarch Money, one of my favorites. If you're a person that like looks at your bank account at the end of the month and goes, I don't know what happened to all the money that I had. I don't know where it all went. I'm now confused as to what's happening with my money. Or you just like avoid it and you're like, all right, I just don't even want to look at it. You may need to start somewhere and try to like get all these pieces into one spot, and Monarch Money can help you do that. It's not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, spending all in one place. It shows you where all your different spending came from. It puts them in little categories, which is nice. It shows you like flow charts where your spending is. I love that kind of stuff. And you don't just manage your money, you start building wealth. That's the next step after getting everything under control. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com. And get this, you get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year to take advantage of these tools. Stop just managing your money. Start building wealth. monarchmoney.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNBA. Thanks for hanging out on Locked On NBA Squad Show East. We're talking about the Damian Lillard injury and now Damian Lillard's career and the Bucks like future and all that. There's a lot of stuff to get into about that. Wes, where do the Bucks go from here? Like, is it done for them? Because he's probably not going to play next year, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really tough spot because, like I said in the first segment, your hopes were that Damian Lillard would eventually come back. And that thing that they could have told themselves of, you know, it was Damian Lillard was injured at the end of the year. Maybe he gets healthy. We go through a summer, he gets healthier, we can come back. Kyle Kuzma, full training camp. You can kind of start talking yourself into stuff. And then you come back next year. That can't happen now because Damian Lillard is going to miss most of next year, if not all of it, based on the history of this injury. Good luck on the whole. If Kuzma getting a full training camp is the one thing that feels not awesome for Milwaukee. And so, yeah, and you've got no draft picks. You have really no way of building it. And even if Damian Lillard was healthy, you can at least say, maybe we could pivot this offseason and trade Damian Lillard and get some other pieces here. Like, at least that would have been something that was on the table. And now that's not on the table. Nobody's trading for Damian Lillard this summer. It doesn't make any sense. So so now it's like, okay, can we trade Kuzma? You're not getting anything for Kuzma. So in every avenue you go, you kind of end up at the same endpoint, which is we kind of have to trade Giannis. And you hate to keep saying it, and I know Bucks fans are always upset because we always keep bringing it up, but it's what's the other option? And it's not even a point of will Giannis ask out, because that's going to be the conversation. Is Giannis going to look around and be like, I don't want to be here? And maybe he does. But even if he doesn't, I don't know how you're this organization and say, yeah, this is fine. Like there's totally a path forward for us. It feels like the only end result is we kind of have to trade Giannis. And it sucks for Milwaukee, but it feels like they're going to be kind of shoved into that corner here sooner rather than later.
I actually think my favorite comp team to think about this is Dame's old team, the Trailblazers, right? Yeah. Like he was there for forever and ever and waited year after year after year and kept sticking around. And eventually he decided, yeah, you know what? I do want to move on, but it was so late that like it didn't actually help him. And if you're Giannis, do you want to look and be like, do I want that to happen to me? I like stick with the Bucks for forever. And the place I go, like, it doesn't actually help me. It's too late in my career. I'm not good enough to actually help the next team enough. And, you know, the other part of that is, yeah, it helped Portland, but like they didn't get anywhere in those years with Dame after trying to commit to him, right? They Supermax extended him in 2019, didn't trade him for a few more years. Like the timing element's a big part of this for Giannis to consider now too. That said, if I'm the Bucks, I am not trading him unless he comes into my office. Yeah. It's a trade, right? Like he's that good that I would literally be okay being the Blazers and just being like the 6 through 9 seed forever with Giannis and a bunch of not good enough stuff. Because like to Wes's point, Dame's probably the worst contract in the NBA now, right? Like untradeable for a year and a half, right? Like it's
Bradley Beal still lives
his age and how expensive that is and a player option the following year. So like it's really tough to maneuver. So I've given Dame a no trade clause. That's what I said. Yes. Yeah, it's just challenging for them to get going forward. So I think that they realistically either just have to kind of accept like, yep, we're going to be the 5 through 8 seed every year with Giannis and hope that something goes our way in the playoffs, or they have to get a Giannis demand, because I wouldn't want to do that to get out of this era. I would try to find something else. They just, like you said, they kind of can't. They don't have any stuff to do anything else.
It's so difficult to look at this team and see hope. You got Brook Lopez is going to be a free agent this summer. Bobby Porter's got a player option. And then you start looking down the rest of the roster and you're like, do I care what any of these other players do? You got Kuzma that signed as a guaranteed deal next year, but you got non-guaranteed deals to AJ Green, Andre Jackson, Chris Livingston.
Who?
Right. So like these are the names that I'm mentioning now at the end of this roster.
You know what's crazy, Nick, is they're expensive. This is an expensive roster. And so that's sort of the other part here is, does ownership want to pay for a $50 million a year Damian Lillard who's coming off of a torn Achilles or unavailable? Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you just
the tax, baby? That might answer the questions for us.
That's the thing is it might just get to a point is, well, we can't trade Dame. Maybe we could trade Kuzma for another bad contract and just sort of move deck chairs a little bit, but
or just relief, like salary relief, or
what's the team that's going to give you salary? Brooklyn's going to be like, yeah, give us Kuz. Like, there's not a team that's going to just absorb Kuzma into cap space. If the Nets don't get the #1 pick and they need to, like, all right, we've actually got to tank for real this time and try. Kuzma, not a bad way to do that. That's true. That's very true. Washington did it and it worked for them. So I don't know, man. Like I said, I've done this mental exercise and I've tried to figure every way out where you could just keep Giannis, and it doesn't feel like it's a thing. Other than the only way you keep Giannis is if you're just like, the guy, he is too valuable to us as a franchise, and even if we are pushing up against the tax, we're still making more money with Giannis and having to pay some of this tax versus no Giannis and zero hope and no season tickets or whatever it is. But I don't know how you could be John Horst, newly extended John Horst, and say,
Oof.
yeah, we're just gonna keep doing this as everybody else in the East keeps getting better.
Yeah.
They also keep losing playoff games with him. Like that's the other part of this that's complicated to me. Like if he was playing and they were winning a lot or like a good amount, where they could feel like even with Giannis and a mediocre team, they could, like, they're one break away from the conference finals. Like you could easily squint and do that, but like maybe it's just bad luck. Like the Heat series that Wes knows about. I've seen 2 Pacers series. Obviously, he hasn't played in one of them, but like they can't even squint and do that, right? They just have to be like, dang, we're not even winning with what we have now, and it's hard to even get like marginally better from their current situation, even though, again, I think that might just be their best outcome.
Yeah, and you've got Lillard now, who is coming off the Achilles. Giannis used to be this Iron Man guy who, he plays a ton of games. That's not really the case anymore. Over the last 5 years, he's played 63, 61, 67, 63, 73, and 67 games. It's not like he's not Zion. That's not what I'm saying. But he's also not a guy who's giving you 75 games a year, 80 games a year either. And so as he gets on the other side of 30, I think it's fair to wonder what that's going to be about. And then, Damian Lillard is what he is. And I don't know, like they could hold on for maybe one more year. We've seen it happen. I mean, Portland did it. We just talked about it with Damian Lillard. But somehow it's just, we know where this is going. And I don't know. I'm at the point now where we know Kevin Durant is getting traded. Giannis is almost, it almost feels as sure of a thing to me. Maybe I'm overreacting to this. I don't know, but I just don't see the way out for Milwaukee.
Do we do the Damian Lillard career retrospective yet? Like, are we ready to go that far with it? Or can we still just wait till he comes back?
That's really depressing, but also, it's like when you tell the story of Kobe Bryant's career, you never talk about the stuff after the Achilles injury.
Yeah.
And so it's
about the same age.
Yeah, so we kind of know what Damian Lillard's career is. Maybe he can, after this, when does this contract expire, by the way, Tony? Mr. Worst contract in the league.
He's got 1 guaranteed year, and then he has a player option for 2026, 27.
So maybe there's like 3 or 4 years from now, he latches onto some championship contender and gets a ring, but it's not going to be, the way that Damian Lillard probably envisioned getting that ring, even if that does happen. So yeah, maybe career retrospect is a little too early, but we kind of know what the 98% of his career is and what the story is going to be.
Coming up, let's get into these actual series. The players that are still playing, the ones that matter on the court. Maybe a little bit brighten up the day right now because I'm so depressed talking about this Bucks team. Let's talk about Pistons, Knicks, and Boston Magic. Let's talk about that and more coming up. Locked On NBA Squad Show East. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Squad Show East brought to you by Wayfair. They got just what you need. They have all kinds of stuff. It's spring, and so that means you're looking around your place, you're looking around your house, and you're going, all right, let's figure out how to improve some of these things. It just always feels better when you refresh a room or you make some small improvements. Even if you add like one piece of furniture to a room, it just completely changes what it is. And so tackle that with Wayfair. It's the best kept secret for all things home improvement, from small updates like a stylish cabinet hardware. I guess that's just like changing the knobs on it, to major upgrades like vanities, sinks, outdoor lighting. Wayfair has quality products for every budget. I've used Wayfair before. Fast, free shipping made it super easy. I didn't have to haul heavy items. A box just showed up at my door and I got to put it together. And it was great. Shopping is seamless. There's all kinds of like discounts and stuff they send you all the time. Wayfair makes home improvement easy. Get started now at wayfair.com. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA Squad Show East. We've got some series still going on. The Bucks may be done, but there's still some teams out there. The Knicks and the Pistons. Game 4 ended like that with a Tim Hardaway Jr. three-point shot that should have been a foul. The NBA admits that it was a foul. They can't go back and change it. Do we protest? Like, where do we land on this with what the NBA should be allowed to do or what the Pistons should be allowed to do with something like this?
Okay. Look, I know the NBA said this is a foul. I don't agree with them. So that's my first start.
You didn't think it was a foul?
I agree.
Tim Hardaway jumped up to the right on his pump fake. That's not how Tim Hardaway shoots. You don't get contact for jumping in an unnatural motion. I have no ground to stand on because the NBA said, yeah, it's a foul, right? Like, what the heck am I going to say? Who cares what I think? But like, the next time Tim Hardaway Jr. shoots a real three like that will be the first time he shoots a real three like that. Like, I get that there was contact. Josh Hart even said it himself. But like, that's my first point on this is I don't think it was a foul. However, because the NBA said it was a foul, we have to continue to talk about it as such. And I think the answer to that is too bad. It sucks. Like the Knicks technically are the team that randomly benefits from it, and then Pistons are the one that randomly lose from it. And there's going to be some randomness at the end of games. If it's a tight game, someone's going to benefit from the randomness. Someone's not. It happens like once a month in the NBA, and it kind of just sucks. I don't know what they can really do about it.
Didn't the Knicks benefit from a no call against the Rockets or something a year ago, or at the end of a game? Am I remembering this right? Where the officials came back, somebody tackled somebody on the Knicks or backwards. I don't remember.
Was it Ime Udoka?
Yeah. Like, first of all, I have no.
Yeah. Also, wait. The Pistons got like the luckiest break ever at the end of Game 3 with the clock nonsense. So, like, what? It just that's how the randomness goes. Like, it's just how it is, right?
It is. It's unfortunate that the randomness tends to favor the Knicks, I guess. But
yeah, but then you look at the other side of the bracket, you're like, man, the randomness should be favoring the Lakers if all these conspiracy theories that we want to be true.
Not if you want Anthony Edwards to be the face of the NBA. This is the way to make it happen. He beats LeBron and Luka. Hey, chess not checkers, Nick. He beats Luka. The Warriors win. He beats Steph. Boss battle, boss battle, boss battle, boss battle. Face of the NBA. Galaxy brain.
What is that aluminum foil hat on your head, sir?
That's just how we dress in Miami, Tony. It reflects the sun. Look, it sucks. It definitely sucks. I do agree with Tony. I watched it. At first, I was like, that looks like a foul. And then they shouted it again. And I was like, slow it down. I don't know that it is a foul. And I'm okay with it not being called, despite the fact that the Knicks benefited from it.
And also how the game was going was like that was not a foul for much of the game.
The physicality in this series has been wild. The things that guys are allowed to do. I mean, they're obviously complaining about each thing because it gets more and more aggressive and physical. But the physicality's been insane.
If it was Jalen Brunson taking that shot, he would have gotten the foul. And that's the point where Pistons fans have a real point. We're like, look, foul or not foul, Brunson gets that call every single time.
Can I propose an NBA rule change?
Does that have to do with Jalen Brunson?
No, but something he does a lot. So I've floated this to people. They all think it's funny tongue in cheek, but it should work. So if you do that crap where you fake a three and then you jump at your defender in weird shooting form and draw the 3-point shooting foul, you get the 3 free throws and you get the points from them. But you have to shoot every 3 with that goofy form for the rest of the game. And the second you take one without that form, the free throw points go away. Who would be opposed to this?
It's like horse. It's like a horse version of free throws.
So when Brunson shot fakes and then jumps forward and he's shooting like parallel to the ground, he has to take every 3 like a fish the rest of the game.
I think you have to take your foul shots like that. You just have to take each foul shot that way.
That's
like a trick shot in beer pong. Yeah, it's like this is how you shoot, right? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, that's your form, clearly, right? Like that's what makes it so stupid. That's not how they shoot. How can it be a shooting foul? I don't know. Yeah,
I'm at the point now where, again, I know we're always trying to introduce new rules and ways to litigate all this stuff and the rest. Sometimes I just want the refs to just use their freaking head, just common sense. Be like, look, I know it's a foul in the handbook. I know all this stuff, but like he clearly jumped into him. It's stupid. Even with the Jalen Brunson thing, like, yeah, he threw his head back. You fell for it. We fell for it. But like, just stop falling. Just don't call it. Like, I don't understand why the refs can't just like use their own brains.
If you
everything has to be by the handbook.
Feeling called Hawkeye Cam. Just go with the call on the floor. Like,
yes.
Besides the refs and the calls and the physicality, have the Pistons impressed you guys as much as they've impressed me in this series?
Yes.
West go, but yes.
Yeah. Everybody, I think Cade has had a rough couple of games, but going through this, I think is going to be everything for Cade. Because the Knicks are throwing everything at him, right? It's, hey, here's OG Anunoby. When it's not him, it's Mikal Bridges. Like, good luck. We're packing the paint against you on your drives. All these things. And they're daring Dennis Schroeder and Tim Hardaway Jr. to beat them. And guess what? They won't. So it's a good bet. And Cade is just sort of dealing with this. And we've seen star players kind of get thrown the kitchen sink and then grow from it. And this has just been such a tremendous year for Cade Cunningham anyway. Like, he's already arguably, like, he's going to be on one of these all-NBA teams. There's an opportunity for him to grow even more and for the Pistons as a team to grow even more. But what really impressed me about Cade, and I love this, was when Ron Holland is about to get into his umpteenth fight of the season, because that's what Ron Holland does. He's standing over that guy, and Cade Cunningham comes in, and he doesn't start getting in the middle of it and trying to protect his guy and start fighting the other guy. No. He goes to Ron Holland's chest and pushes him out of the way. Like, you are not going to cost us a chance for this. That was alpha dog bleep right there. That was the most alpha of alpha moves where it's like, look, I don't even care how I look. I know what's better for my team. Nobody's going to question me. Everybody knows what you're about. And by the way, I love Ron Holland, one of my favorite rookies of this class. I love the heart that he plays with. But obviously that comes with a price. And that was it. And Cade understands that as a leader of that team at 23, 24 years old and says, you're not going to cost us a chance to compete in this series. He's seriously playing for something. I was so impressed with that. He is grown as a leader, and I think that's really cool.
So, like, everybody alive clowned Tobias Harris for every playoffs he played with the Sixers, and he's been really good.
Yep.
He's guarding Cat like pretty well, making shots, like spearheading real long comeback runs. Like, where did this come from? And like, he's been pretty solid. Their 3-pointers guys have been streaky. Hardaway and Beasley have been streaky, but like Schroeder's been good. Like, yeah, every game I'm like, wow, this is like a punch without Cade that I didn't expect this team had. Their front court has been pretty streaky to me. Like, Duran's been up and down at times in a way that's really hurt them. And if they had Isaiah Stewart, this is not a 3-1 series. This is at least 2-2, right? But the fact that they've had like non-Cade successful things has really impressed me. I'm gonna go, okay, like this is real. This team should be good next year. And like, oh, by the way, not even Isaiah Stewart. If Jaden Ivey's playing and they have another guy who can dribble toward the basket, like they already have the thing that it feels like they're missing the most in this series on the team.
Should they trade for Giannis? We're not gonna do it. Sorry.
I mean, truly, okay, I know you're kidding, but like truly, if he's available, like every single team should be like, okay, can we do this? Like, can we actually get him?
That's not how you trade a superstar player, though, Tony. You do it in the you do
no,
it.
You know what's funny? I was gonna bring this up because you were here. I was gonna bring this up because you were here. Like, people have floated that they think the Bucks for the second team, right? Like,
yeah,
I bet the Bucks
definitely.
And that makes a lot of sense. Like, to me, the only players that make sense if you're gonna do this would be like Giannis and Shea, right? So if it truly was and they called the Bucks and the Bucks were like, nah, we can't do that, and now this happens.
Nick, how would you have felt if they traded Luka for Giannis instead of Anthony Davis? Would that have changed anything?
Yeah, he's a much better player. So
right.
Yeah.
But would it so you would have been like heartbreaking, but we got Giannis? Would have been or bummer, and we got Giannis?
Yes. Part of the reason why it's been so terrible for the Mavericks and Mavs fans is how they've handled all this. So if they handled all of it the exact same way, and it's just AD for Giannis, I think you would feel better about the trade for sure. Because at least you mentioned Giannis's games played. They're way better than Anthony Davis's games played too, right?
I feel bad because I felt like I was knocking him. Still definitely a top 4 player in the league, Giannis is.
I've like floated this in my head, and this is the perfect time to say it, even though it doesn't really make sense. I think Anthony Davis is like literally the best player in the league where this trade still doesn't feel like it makes sense. If that makes like everybody better than him, you're like, ooh, we got whoever. And then
Anthony Edwards,
like everybody better than Anthony Davis are to be like, oh, cool. That like I don't think they should do that, but at least I get it. Like he's like the best player where everybody's like, Anthony Davis. Like, I don't know. That doesn't make sense because he's obviously amazing. But like, yeah, like if you get Giannis instead, like even if you think it's a stupid value trade, at least you're like, oh, Giannis, okay, I get it. He's amazing.
So then if you're the Mavericks, so the next step is, hey, Anthony Davis. Max Christie.
Okay. And they've got 3 first-round picks.
And 3 first-round picks for Giannis.
John Horst's extension, I don't think requires him to do such a move. But you know what? We'll see.
Also, every room I walk into becomes a conversation about the Luka trade. It doesn't matter if I'm on the East Squad show, if I'm in Sacramento covering a play-in game. It doesn't matter. It's
such a seminal trade that it will come up forever. Like next trade deadline, everybody will be like, the Pacers should trade for Anthony Edwards, and I'll be like, he's not available. They'll be like, who cares? They traded Luka last year. Just go get it done, dude. Well, go get him.
The Athletic did that player poll recently. I did a show on Locked On Mavs about all the responses, and so many players were like, I guess anything can happen. And like it got so many star players on their toes because it just could happen. And they're not just chalking it up to Nico Harrison being an idiot. Like that's not what they're saying. They're saying it could happen to anybody. Like any team.
I remember walking into the locker room in Miami after that happened, and every Heat player was just like, we could all get traded now. Like it's
funny, like players like that's all they wanted to talk about. Even with me, I'd be like, hey, what's up, you? And they're like, oh my god, what'd you think of the trade? I'm like, you want to talk to me about something? But like,
I really hope you go into locker rooms and you're like, what's up, you?
Oh, I have a Rick Carlisle story now.
Okay.
I talked to somebody. He's no longer works for the NBA, but he's a masseur, and he used to work on Carlisle, and Carlisle was in town and in Dallas, and he said it was the first time ever in the history of me like doing these sessions with Rick Carlisle he ever asked me my opinion on something in the NBA was about the Luka Doncic trade.
Even the masseurs are involved now.
Like all
also just learned that they're called masseurs.
Even still, man. I
It's
still
like
make
anybody.
jokes. I still make jokes about it, Nick. I'm sorry. As I just did with
It's my
Giannis,
life now.
so
It's like
congrats to the Bucks on not doing that. Maybe they should have. If it
I'll
was
still
real.
I still get comments every day on Locked On Mavs. Move on, man. Come on. It was crying
I
over
know. I heard
spilled
you do
milk.
this show the other day, and you're like, you have to talk about
Did
it.
I
You
not?
can't
Did I
talk
not
about it.
text you my funny thing? The Mavs and Lakers came to Indy like a week apart when the Mavs were in town. It was March, and I was like, oh, finally, I can't wait to see Luka come to Indy for the first time. It was so fun, and then he actually came a week later.
It still also kind of feels like Luka was out with an injury when the trade happened. And so it kind of just feels, and we did so many deals, like so many shows about like, all right, well, whenever Luka comes back, this will happen. And now it just feels like he still hasn't come back. It's like he's
Yeah,
going to
the other
eventually come
joke
back
I-
from
well,
loan. Like
Told
in
people
Premier
about so
League.
much. I bet you've heard this story a lot. My wife does not care about the NBA at all, and it was like 1 a.m. and I'm like, babe, Luka got traded. She's like, what? Like, I have to tell someone. I can't just sit here with this information. And I think a lot of people had a similar experience. Like, it's that kind of trade.
Yep.
Yeah, I was with friends that live like overseas and were just back visiting, and I had to try to explain to them what it was. And like it was a good test of like how do you explain the context of something while completely giving every bit of context to
I
somebody
tried
else.
to explain it in housewives terms to my wife, but at first I needed her to explain housewives to me. And I'm like, who's the most dominant housewife? Who's the one that flipped the table that one time, that clip we all saw? Imagine if the housewives in LA traded that one to the housewives in Texas somewhere. That's what it would have been like.
It's like after
They'd be-
Star
and she
Wars,
was like, why would they do that? And I was like, exactly.
after Star Wars: A New Hope, Luke Skywalker destroys the Death Star and then turns to the dark side. Like, for 2 more movies, he's now
Wow.
on the dark side.
You had that ready. That's a good one.
That's really
I've been
good.
thinking about this for 3 months now, Tony.
That's good.
I'm also thinking about Revenge of the Sith. All right, that squad show, I don't know. This is always how it's supposed to end up, is we just never know where it's going to end. So go check out the great shows, Locked On Heat, Locked On Pacers, all kinds of great Locked On East shows all over the place. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA Squad Show East.